What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So a couple days ago, I finished up my series giving an update on the most recent NHL drafts, seeing how those players have progressed since getting drafted. I did 2023 all the way down to 2019, and I decided to cut it there. I decided to cut it off at 2019. I didn't want to run it into the ground all the way up until like 2010, but something wasn't sitting right with me. I knew that I still had more to do with this series. And then the light bulb went off. I had to do the first draft ever. I had to go all the way back to where it all began, back in 1979. And yes, there's been drafts since 1963, but 1979 is the first actual modern NHL draft. That was obviously after the merger with the WHA. They also lowered the draft age from 20 to 19, then later lowered it another year to 18. But today, we are looking at the 1979 draft. A very serious video, 45 and a half years later. I believe that none of these players are still playing professional hockey, but maybe I'm wrong. We're going to go through it right now. We're going to go through the 1979 draft. Rob Ramage was the first ever official first overall pick post-merger. And up first, we're going to go through his career. And he had a pretty impressive career. Maybe not first overall pick worthy, but yeah, 564 career points, 1,044 games. As a defenseman, peaked at what, 66 points in 77 games. He was a pretty good player. He was a staple of the 80s and just the 80s for the most part. Actually, he kind of flamed out by the 90s. But yeah, very good career. Not a bust by any stretch, not some home run guy. Pretty funny. The first overall pick ever was a London Knights player. That's pretty fitting. They are the royalty of the CHL. Next up, we got Perry Turnbull. 351 points in 608 career games. Again, pretty solid career. Peaked at 59 points, back-to-back 50-point seasons. Maybe a little bit disappointing. I guess he even might have had like injuries towards the end, considering he played 26 games. Then he was pretty promptly out of the NHL. Went over to Italy, tore it up in Italy, 55 points in 35 games. But yeah, he went to the St. Louis Blues. Not the best career. Not the best 1-2 in NHL history. Mike Foligno. I believe he's definitely the father of the Foligno brothers. He looks exactly like the spitting image of Marcus. He played for the Sudbury Wolves, and yeah, he had a pretty damn good career, better than, arguably as good as Rob Ramage, maybe even better. He was a forward, but yeah, peaked at 80 points, 70 games, Buffalo Sabres, then over to the Toronto Maple Leafs. No busts within the top three. No Hall of Fame guys, but some pretty solid players. Mike Gartner. I'm Mike Bartner, so I'm pretty close. I've always been linked to Mike Gartner, considering he's just one letter off from my name. Yeah, he was very, very productive. He is definitely the best player out of the top four. Peaked for the Washington Capitals with 50 goals, 52 assists. How many times did he hit 40 in a season? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One of the best goal scorers in NHL history. 708 career goals. He is a no doubt Hall of Famer. Absolute stud. Played for multiple teams. And again, even at the end, was still giving you 30 and 30 when he was nearing 37, 38 years old. He's definitely the one stud I'm seeing as of right now. I see another guy that we're going to get to later. But Rick Vaive, Toronto Maple Leafs. He went to the Canucks, but then he eventually went to the Toronto Maple Leafs, where he had a very good career as well. Hit the 50 goal mark for 3 straight seasons. Now, granted, this was the early 80s when teams were scoring 4 goals per game. But yeah, he should have been the freaking top 3 for no doubt, given the career that he's had. Multiple times hitting. Oh, yeah, whoops! I almost just saw. I thought I saw 108 points. That's penalty minutes. But yeah, very, very impressive career. I'm botching that name. Rick Vaive, might be. Craig Hartsburg. How did Craig Hartsburg's career pan out? Again, pretty productive as a defenseman. 77 points in 76 games. I'm sorry, I'm not really fully up to date on my 1980s NHL history. I know a decent amount. But yeah, very productive early on. Looks like maybe he dealt with some injuries, and then he was shortly out of the NHL. That kind of stinks because he was arguably on pace for a Hall of Fame career. 413 points in 570 games. That's extremely impressive. I wish Hockey DB had the voting to see how he placed in Norris races, because I'm sure he definitely got a decent amount of votes in this season and maybe some other, but it looks like career might have been a bit impacted by injury. Keith Brown. It's looking like this is a pretty damn good draft, but it makes sense because some of the WHA guys came over in this draft. Not the most impressive career, but still an effective NHLer. Peaked at 43 points right there. 342 points. That's nothing to sneeze at. But then we got Ray Bourque, top 15, arguably top 10 greatest player of all time. It's safe to say that he probably should have went first overall in this draft, given the fact that he hit 80 points. I believe he was a Norris. He was top 3 or top 4 in Norris from like, I believe his second season, literally until he retired. I could be wrong on that, but it's one of the most like insane, consistent runs by an NHL. He had the best longevity in terms of playing 20 years and basically every single one of those years being a top 5 defenseman, if that makes sense. Nicholas Lidstrom maybe had like the better, obviously Bobby Orr had the better 5-7 year run. Lidstrom won 6 out of 7 Norrises, but Lidstrom took a while to develop. Raymond Bourque out of the gate was insane and was basically, I believe he was the Norris runner-up in his final season, which just goes to show how nuts he was. Laurie Boschman, Toronto Maple Leafs, again, very solid career, 577 points in 1,000 career games. Again, this is the early 80s, so some of these numbers are kind of a little bit inflated. This error adjusted will only be like 480, but still, insane numbers, solid value for the 9th overall pick. Tom McCarthy, even him, dude, 76 points. This draft really was one season above point per game, as well as 39 goals in 66 games. This is nuts. This is nuts, man. Mike Ramsey, another 1,000 gamer. Pretty decent. 345 points as a defenseman over 1,000 career games. Paul Reinhart. Is he related? I think he might be related to Sam Reinhart. Let me look that up real quick. Just went to go check. Yes, Sam Reinhart is related to Paul Reinhart. That is his dad. Strong genes between him and Sam. Griffin didn't quite pan out, but shout out for the Islanders for getting Matt Barzal for Griffin Reinhart. Love Griffin Reinhart. Doug Soliman. Again, he's on like there's like bottom 3 in this, whatever, top 13, and he still had a 631 game career. That is so impressive. Brian Propp. Very, very good career. 1,000 points, just over 1,000 points, 425 goals in 1,016 career games. Peaked at just multiple seasons in the 90s for the Philadelphia Flyers. God damn, man. I'm at a loss for words right now. Brian McCrimmon, again, 1,000 career games, 400 points as a defenseman. Peaked at as a 56-point defenseman. It's the greatest draft of all time. Maybe not like a bunch of top 50 players of all time. You only got Raymond Bourque, but still. Jay Wells, a defenseman, still 1,000 career games. Was in the NHL for a while, peaked at 42 points. Dwayne Sutter, my New York Islanders. Oh, he's part of the dynasty teams, but wasn't that big of a piece. Peaked at 53 points, but very, very nice. Ray Allison, this might be the worst guy that we've seen in the first round yet, 238 games, but again, still had 157 points in those games. To the Philadelphia Flyers was above a point per game in a season. How do you go from point per game in a season to basically damn, that is crazy. 1982 point per game, 1985 in the AHL. That's wild. Jimmy Mann, right wing. This guy did not quite pan out. Looked like a little bit of a goon enforcer out there. 30 points in 290 games. Michel Goulet, very, very good career. I believe he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah, I think so. He should be 121 points in a season. Multiple seasons above 100 in points. 1,000 career games. Kevin Lowe, the most controversial Hall of Famer probably of all time, considering the fact that he's kind of only went in because he won a bunch of Stanley Cups. He won, 6? But yeah, he was a very effective defenseman throughout his entire career. Played 1,254 games, 432 points. And yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame. Good on him. Who else we got? We're going to go through some other ones. We got Brett Ashton, 629 points in just under 1,000 career games. Any other Hall of Fame? Dale Hunter, now known for his coaching. But yeah, he was a very effective player throughout his career. 1,000 points in the second round, 41st overall. Dave Christian right there. I'm not going to click on him, but 773 points. Keep on going. Neil Broughton, legendary American hockey player, arguably like top 15 of all time. Very, very effective career, just shy of 1,000 career points. Guy Carbonneau, great player, multi-Selke winner. Yeah, 3-time Selke winner, and obviously won some Stanley Cups. One of the better two-way players in NHL history. And still, obviously, well, he didn't have a ton of points, but 663. Mark Messier winning this draft. Holy my God. I guess, yeah, they just really were loaded with WHA guys. So it was just a mix. Like some of the WHA 18 to 19-year-olds got thrown in this draft. But yeah, Mark Messier, 48th overall. And he wasn't that productive in WHA before he got it. Wasn't that productive until his second season in the NHL. And then went on to win, 2 Hart trophies, 6 Stanley Cups. Him and Kevin Lowe, 6 Stanley Cups each. Pretty decent career. I'm calling that a decent career. Who else we got? Glenn Anderson. Damn, Edmonton just loaded up in this draft, huh? I believe he's also a Hall of Famer, kind of because he played with Mark Messier and Wayne Gretzky, that guy. But yeah, very good career for Glenn Anderson as well. Got any other late round Hall of Famers? Dirk Graham had a decent career, almost 500 career points. Thomas Steen, father of Alex Steen, soon to be general manager of the St. Louis Blues. I'm out of whack right now. But yeah, he had a very effective career. A lot of dads in this draft that now have kids in the NHL or recently had kids. Dave Crossman. I'm not even going to try to pronounce Mike Nizinski. 569 points, though. But yeah, overall, a disgusting draft. Holy shit. I can't count right now, but I think probably like 6 or 7 Hall of Famers we just went over. Okay, I just wanted to be exact with this. I'm looking it up on Wikipedia, but there were 7 Hall of Famers: Bourque, Gartner, Goulet, Kevin Lowe, Mark Messier, Glenn Anderson, and Guy Carbonneau, as well as 12 out of the 21 first-round selections played in at least one All-Star game, as well as 19 out of the 21 would play at least 450 career games. That is nuts. And Wayne Gretzky probably should have been in this draft looking at it now, but he had some kind of like agreement with the owner and didn't want to void his contract and enter the draft because he didn't want to play for the Colorado Rockies, which was understandable. But yeah, let me know in the comments. What do you think about this? I'm actually retiring this series now. I will not be attempting a 1963 when there was like 30 picks total doing that draft. This is the first ever modern draft. I thought it'd be fun to go through it, and clearly there are some absolute studs. I'll be seeing the next one.